through constant assessment throughout his or her entire life. We judge different people around us and are in turn judged by them for each and every action that we take, for each and every decision that we make. But the irony is that out of every 10 people who judge, 9 of them keep their feedback to themselves. Only 1 out of every 10 people are bold enough to offer us his or her feedback. So, why do the remaining 9 people keep away from expressing their opinion? Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. According to a recent survey, 2 out of 9 such people do so because of their nature. They hold back intentionally. And the remaining 7 people do so because of different kinds of fear. The study further depicts that to be just the beginning for those 7 people. After a while, they lose their ability to express almost each and every opinion of theirs. Even when they have a good idea in their mind, they become too anxious to express it. And after a while, they just go along to get along. They just start following the actions of other people around them. What they don't realize is that the person whom they are following might also be doing the same. Have you ever wondered that what could happen if the entire population of a nation consisted of such people? I developed a very clear idea recently when I read one of my most favorite childhood stories after a long time. Once upon a time, there lived a king. He was an ignorant ruler. He was highly insecure, and in order to ensure compliance from the common people, he adopted different kinds of torture. As a result, his whole kingdom was terrified of his barbaric rule. Even his ministers were no exception. They always said what the king wanted to hear. And so, after ruling over his kingdom for 10 long years, the king decided that it was time to celebrate. He wanted to go on a city-wide parade, and he decided to wear something made up from a unique material, something which would be the lightest of all material, something which has never been seen before. And so, he paid a visit to the most skillful tailor of his territory and presented his demand. The tailor knew at once that his demands would be impossible to accomplish. Yet, out of fear, he took a chance when he replied, "Your Majesty, we have over 200 different varieties of clothes here. Why don't you have a look?" The king reviewed each and every one of them and, much to the tailor's dismay, rejected them all. He got very annoyed and barked at the tailor, "You have the biggest shop of my territory, but why don't you have the material of my liking?" In reply, the tailor pleaded, "Your Majesty, please give me 1 week. I will personally prepare your attire for the parade." The king retorted, "You have 5 days. After that, I shall revisit your shop, and if I don't find it done, I will have your shop closed." And so the king returned to his court. The remaining 5 days passed, and then it was time for the parade. When the day arrived, the king, this time, along with a handful of ministers, was back on the shop. The ministers waited outside as the king marched into the shop in order to get dressed into the occasion. The king asked the tailor, "Have you finished preparing my clothes?" The tailor and his 29 subordinates replied in unison, "Yes, Your Majesty." "So, where is it?" "Your Majesty, it's right here, can't you see?" "No, I can't." Terrified though the tailor was, he made his reply, "Your Majesty, we have actually used the lightest material there is, as per your request. Even the air around us is lighter than this material. As a result, it might be difficult to see without sunlight. We can see it because we work here day and night. The moment you step out in sunlight, it will be perfectly visible to everyone." The king was reticent for another 2 seconds before his insecurity took over. He thought that he was acting strangely in front of 30 people, and he slowly started to dress by taking the help of the tailor. By the time he finished dressing, the streets around the tailor shop were full of all kinds of people. Some people were there just because they were afraid of the king and they wanted to avoid punishment. Some people were there just because they were merely following the actions of other people around them. On the other hand, the real agenda of some people was to acquire certain privileges by keeping the king happy. Each and every one of them despised the king in the back of their minds. Yet they cheered for the parade, keeping in mind their own selfish intentions. But as soon as the king came out of the tailor shop and climbed his chariot, the cheering stopped. There was a pin drop silence among the crowd. Each and every one of them were amused by what they were seeing. Yet none of them made a sound. But there was one child in the crowd whose mind was not colored by the breath of the adults. He slowly made his way into the crowd and shouted out, "Look, look, the king isn't wearing any clothes." It took a child to see and speak the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what exactly happens with each and every one of us. All of us were once like that child. But then, as we grow up, we end up meeting other people. 9 out of the 10 people we come across in our lives hide their real emotions. And then we get influenced by them, and sooner or later we become the same thing which we despise. We should never hide our real emotions for something or someone. Instead, we must be brave. We must be bold. We should tell what's needed to be told. If we succumb to any kind of fear, our integrity will be gone, our end will be near. And if it's still too much to cover, just unleash the child within. Let it take over. Thank you.
Seven and research your topic, and your speech started even before you came on stage when the master of ceremonies told your speech topic, the taboo topic. I got into thinking that it could be one of the 3 topics which are taboo in Toastmasters, either sex, politics or religion. It could be on the humorous side. However, you completely changed track when you gave your opening. It was a brilliant opening, which was a classical challenging statement to the audience. What would you do if you think that your whole life is a waste? It immediately grabbed my attention and held it throughout till the end of the speech. I loved your research, and even more so the presentation of the research, which was very easy for me to understand and follow. You started with the story of a 16-year-old Chinese boy who wanted to commit suicide, and then there is a girl who came and who helped him not to commit suicide. And then you started giving us some statistics from World Health Organization that 10 lakh people commit suicide every year. Then you went on to say that every 40 seconds people try to commit suicide, which in 2020 may reduce to 20 seconds, which is a very, very grave situation to be in. Then you went on to describe the reasons why people commit suicide, like bipolar, schizophrenia, alcohol, unemployment, so on and so forth. It reminded me of a colleague, a business colleague who committed suicide about 6 or 7 months ago because of financial problems. I think some of the audience member must have known or know someone who have committed suicide. So this was, your story was very, very easy for me to connect with. And then you went on to say a story about a person named Richie, right? Richie from Australia, who helped 160 people to avoid committing suicide just by plain listening to their problem. Your whole research was interspersed with stories, facts, statistics, and in the end you also showed a visual aid. So I thought that that was brilliantly done. I don't think many people can do present research in this manner in Project 7. Your organization of the speech was very good. You had a problem solution speech where the problem was people committing suicide, and in the conclusion you gave us the solution that we all need to care for your speech, care for the people who are trying to commit suicide, and then you gave the full acronym for the word care. I thought that your body language was also very good when you illustrated hugging, and then you also illustrated when you were saying that looking out of window. However, the best part was the tone of your speech. It was a somber tone which went very well, perfectly well with the kind of speech which you are giving. I also thought that the pauses which you gave in the speech was very well done, because you didn't give a pause for any effect. That was given at the right time for the audience to reflect. I think we as a speaker should always try to only pause for the audience, to giving time them to reflect and not for effect. If I just have to be a nitpicky about your speech, it has to be a conclusion. I thought that conclusion could be a little better. You could have perhaps said something like, together we can make this world a better place, because suicide is only a permanent solution for a temporary problem. So something on those lines. Otherwise, I thought that was a brilliant speech. I think it was your best speech yet, and I think You have turbocharged your own success, and you have discovered and shown your brilliant orator which is lying inside you to the world. Good luck. Thank you.